Welcome to Math 55, 65, and 85, Summer 2015. I will be going over the Math 55 syllabi and Module 1. Math 55 and 85 are very similar, so you'll want to pay close attention to all of this. This is not the official syllabus. Your instructor will provide or make available the official syllabus for your course. So let's look at the Math 55 class. Looking at the syllabus. You can read most of this for yourself. First thing we want to talk about is the textbooks and other materials. You will not want to buy, or if you've already bought My Math Lab package from the bookstore, do not open it up until you talk with your instructor. You may not need it. So that's the most important thing. If you had this class last semester or maybe 2 semesters ago, you may still have access. So do not open up the material or the package until you talk with your instructor. Now for Math 55, you are not permitted to use your own calculator. You can only use the calculator in the My Math Lab system when it appears in the system. For Math 65 and 85, you can use your own scientific calculator or Texas Instruments graphing calculator number TI-84 or below. If it has some kind of computer algebra system on it or an app, you will need to delete that, or you cannot use the calculator. So make sure your calculator does not have any kind of computer algebra system on it, which means it will do the work for you. You can't do that. You can't use those. For example, TI-89, TI-92, TI-Inspire, you cannot use those. Your instructor will have his or her information here, so make sure you read that. Math 55 and 65 have 6 modules each. Math 85 has 5 modules. You can read these. These are just chapter descriptions of what the modules cover. 75% of the class will be based on the module grades. 25% will be based on the final exam score. The final exam is comprehensive. It does cover the whole class. In order to pass the class, you must have a 70% average overall, which does include the final exam score, and you must also make at least 50% on the final exam. Now, you may not have to take the final exam. I'll discuss this later in the syllabus. The MP grade is kind of a big deal. You'll want to read this, but what it comes down to is if you complete at least 3 modules, but not the whole class, you may be eligible for the MP grade. Also, you must meet the attendance requirement. If you do receive an MP grade, that is not a passing grade, but what it does mean is you will need to take the class again the following semester. You will have to pay for it, pay for the tuition. But let's say that you finish exactly 3 modules this semester, this summer, and you take the class in the fall. That means, and you got the MP, that means that you will need to start at module 4 in the fall. So the first 3 module grades will transfer over. And it's the same if you finish 4 modules or 5 modules, depending on the class. An F grade will be issued if you do not complete at least 3 brand new modules, or you may not have met the attendance requirement, or you may have cheated on the final exam. Once again, you can read a lot of this for yourself. The last day the final exam will be given will be Tuesday, August the 4th, but you can take it earlier if all modules are completed. Once again, you may not need to take the final exam. We'll discuss that later. Withdrawing, you have until midterm to withdraw without your instructor's signature. After midterm, you will need your instructor's signature, and I believe the last date to withdraw will be August the 3rd. Makeup, work, late work, all the assignments will be available all semester. As you take exams, pre-tests, and exit tests, you'll be expected to show your work and to submit that paper. Attendance policy, you're expected to show up. But once again, if you miss too many days, it can affect whether or not you pass or fail, or the MP grade. Cheat, don't cheat. The number one way people cheat is using their cell phone. Do not have your cell phone out. Do not be looking at websites you shouldn't be looking at. Don't have notes. Don't be talking to your classmates during the exam. Anything like that. You can read this for yourself. Now, how this course works, I'm actually going to go to a module. Let's go to Module 1 of 065. This is how it may look. And you'll be able to find the syllabus. You will see videos. There will not be any lecture during this class. However, the lectures have already been made. They're in video form, either YouTube form or in YouTube, which means they're free. They're totally free. Do not have to have an account. You can watch them on your phone or computer, anything like that. There's some additional videos that you may want to view. There's also a bonus for the exit test that you may need to do. It just depends. This is a grade book for where you can see your module grades. In this case for module 1. Study plans where you can practice. Handouts is also where you can do some additional practice. The multimedia library and ebook. This is where you can find your textbook. So if you were to click on multimedia textbook and click on find now, the textbook would open up. There's some additional resources that you may want to look at. But the most important thing is the assignments folder. So let's look at it. The reason why I chose Math 65 is because this course pretest. Math 65 and Math 85 both have a course pretest. This is for people that haven't taken the previous course. So for example, if you're in Math 65 and you haven't taken Math 55, you will want to take the 65 course pretest. This is totally up to you if you take it or not. Well, you're required to take it, but you may not have to take it seriously. You may just submit it. If you've already had Math 55, just go ahead and submit this course pretest. Don't worry about it. But if you haven't had Math 55, take this test seriously. You can take it at home. It's the only test you can take it at home. When you do take it at home or wherever you want, and you find out that you're not seeing or not liking what you see, you don't remember a lot of it or never have seen a lot of it, talk to your instructor immediately. What that means is you probably want to switch from 65 to 55. That is, you can do that within the first week. It may be extended longer. We're not for sure yet. We'll know more. But for the first week, you can switch to 55. If you're in 85, you can switch to 65 or into 55. So this course pretest can be really important. So take it as soon as possible. And it isn't the worst thing if you have to switch, and I'll talk more about that later as we go back over the syllabus. Now, besides that, each module will have a pretest. Now, this pretest, you can take it once, and if you make a 90 or higher, you can and you're satisfied with that, that will be your module grade. You will not have to do anything else. If you make at least an 85 but not a 90, you can skip the homework assignments and then go to the exit test. Now, if you don't make an 85 or you just want to practice before you take the exit test, then you must do the homework assignments. Now, each homework assignment has a video assignment associated with it. So as you can tell, 2, 6, 3, 1, 3, 2. These are videos for homework 1 through 1, 3, 2. Now, when you start doing the homework assignments and you've taken the pretest, you may notice that some of these homework assignments already have grades, and also some of the homework problems have been counted correctly automatically. That's because the homework assignments are tied to the pretest. So whatever you get right in the pretest, the corresponding homework problems will be counted correctly. Now, unless of course you miss similar problems on the pretest. So whatever you miss on the pretest, the corresponding homework problems will be required to complete. So in other words, you will only need to complete the homework problems that you don't know how to do. So it's actually not a bad thing. Now, each homework assignment, if you look at these flags, it's going to tell you that you can't do this homework 1 until you do the pretest, and you can't do homework 2 until you make at least an 80 on homework 1. So that's what those flags mean. They're telling you what you got to do before you can actually access the homework assignment. So each homework assignment requires at least an 80% to gain access to the next homework assignment. And also on the exit test, if you didn't make an 85 in the pretest, or if you didn't complete all the homework assignments with scores of at least 80%, you cannot access the exit test. But once you do that, you will have access to the homework assignments. Now, it is required to make at least an 80 on your overall module grade. What that means is, if you make only 80 on the homework assignments, then that means you need to make at least an 80 on the exit test. Now, if you make hundreds on the homework assignments, then you only need to make a 75. If you make hundreds on the 100% on all the homework assignments and then do the bonus question, and that means you only need to make a 70 on the exit test. So it's highly recommended, and plus it helps you out as far as your exit test goes if you make perfect scores on all the homework assignments. Now if you take exit test 1 and you do not make the required score, then that means you need to do additional homework assignments. So on this practice assignment, you need to make at least 95 on that, or on these quizzes you need to make an 80, and on this exit test you need to make a 50. This will become more self-explanatory as you progress through the modules. The class isn't difficult to understand once you start seeing what's going on. So really the only assignments you have to do are the pre-test to the exit test. The other ones may or may not be required. It just depends on how you do on the exit test. And that's pretty much how this class is set up. There's some reviews you can do, some additional assignments or videos you may want to watch. But what I want to do is look at the study plan, just to show you something about the homework assignments. Now, if you do click on study plan, this is just practice. It is not required. The quiz-me's are not required. Click on view all chapters. Then you can click on this arrow and say that you want to practice simplified algebraic expressions. And you click on this homework assignment. You'll see a window pop up. Now, what you may or may not be seeing, I'm going to go ahead and just click this, and then down here you may or may not be able to see the check answer. Then click done and try it again. Check answer, done, check answer again. I'm just guessing. You'll see what you missed. But then you'll see down here a similar exercise. Anytime you see that pop up, what that means is you can retry the same homework problem. And then you can type in the correct answer or figure it out. And you get credit for it because of the green arrow or green check. Over here are some learning aids you can use, but the thing I wanted to show you was a similar exercise. So that's how you can get 100% on your homework assignments. If you miss a problem 2 or 3 times, depending on how many attempts you get, you can always click on similar exercise and it gives you a new problem. Sometimes most times it will change the numbers, sometimes it doesn't. It's supposed to change the numbers, but if it doesn't, it's better for you if it doesn't. And over here to help me solve this, textbook, calculator, ask my instructor. Instructor actually will send an email to your instructor for help. The calculator, this is the calculator that only can be used in Math 55. And that's how all the modules are pretty much set up. Your instructor can answer more questions if you have them. Let's go back to the syllabus. That's what all this was. We want you to work ahead of schedule. You do not have to wait until the due dates, which I'll show you those here in a minute. Here's the breakdown of each module. But since we require you to have at least 80% on everything, this really isn't an issue. If you complete the class, you should have at least a B. Some C's are possible. Most people make A's and B's. Final exam. And once again, it's 25% of the final grade. You must make this a 50 on it. Final exam exemption. This is what I was looking for. July the 20th. If you finish all your modules in any class by July the 20th, you are not required to take the final exam, and your final grade will be the average of the module grades. The only people that are not eligible for this exemption are the ones that had an MP last semester and you are not beginning, or you're beginning at module 4 or 5 or 6 depending on the class. So if you had an MP last semester, you are required to take the final exam. If you completed modules last semester because you finished the class early, you are still exempt from the final exam. Only the people that receive an MP are not exempt from the final exam. In other words, you must take the final exam. We want you to come in anytime that the doors are open and take tests. That's how you can finish early. Do the homework at home. Come in and take tests. All tests must be taken at home. They are password protected, so they must be taken in the classroom. Only your proctor or the instructional specialist will have the password. Now, if you do finish 55 or 65 early, you may proceed into the next class modules this summer. So for example, you're in Math 65 and you finish that one early, you can proceed into the Math 85 modules. Now, if you finish all of the 85 modules this semester after you finish 65, you're not required to take the final exam, no matter when you finish it, even if it's after July the 20th. Got that? This final exam exemption deadline is only for the class you're currently enrolled in. So if you do proceed on, because you finished the class that you're currently enrolled, and you finish this class after July 20th, the last module, no final exam, and you just earned a free class, nothing at all will be charged to you. And you'll have step credit in your transcript or on your PeopleSoft account. If you're in Math 55 and you finish that class early, you can go on and finish 65 and also 85. If you finish all three classes, you just earned 2 free classes and saved yourself 2 semesters of time. So we want you to finish early. Come in, take tests. Do not wait for class time. You can come anytime the doors are open. And these are the due dates if you want to just finish one class, but we want you to finish more than one class. If you do finish on or before these due dates, you'll receive 5 points extra on your module grade by percentage. So keep that in mind. Those bonus questions that I mentioned before in the classroom, in the My Math Lab classroom, these are worth 5 points bonus for the exit test. So make sure you take advantage of these extra credit opportunities, bonus point opportunities. And here's the bonus points mentioned about the due dates. So once you have an 80% average overall on the module and you complete an honor or before the due date, you'll get 5% added to that module grade. So you'll want to read the syllabus quickly, or not quickly but closely, and you'll see what I've gone over. This is a brief overview of the whole course. So pay attention to these due dates. August the 4th is the last day to take the final exam. You can take it anytime after the last module is completed if you're not exempt. And the rest of this information you can read for yourself. Once again, if you have any questions, ask your instructor.